NCAA athletes, should they get paid? That's a never-ending question. Seems like it's been around since the beginning of time. We recently had a lawsuit where some shoe executives and some other people got convicted. But what do you think about just the whole idea of college athletes getting paid?
Whenever you have an institution that's making that much money, the NCAA makes a lot of money off of endorsements, off of TV deals, and it gets dispersed in different ways. There are a lot of rules about how and when and the types of money that college students can be paid, and it's like we're talking billions here,
Right.
like billions of dollars
With the B.
with the B. And I know that this last case, it was a problem where one student in particular was going to be offered $100,000 if he would sign with a particular school and agree to sign with a particular shoe company once he got into the pros. And first and foremost, I think they should be paid. If you're allowed to make your money off of my name and my image and my talent, and I can't, like, how does that work?
But what about this whole idea of they're getting a college scholarship? They're getting a full ride, 4-year education. Education these days is going up. You know, it's $25,000, $30,000, $50,000 at schools. So what would you say to the person that, hey, this athlete is getting this $200,000 worth of education? Isn't that payment enough?
Not if he's bringing in $2 million to your program. You got to understand, a lot of these kids, they're in it for the opportunity to make the NBA. That's their dream. A lot of them, once they get to a certain level, you could lose that scholarship.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So they have to understand their families aren't necessarily worried, they don't have the money to take care of the kids as far as sending them money for extracurricular things that they need. Extracurriculars like food. Who's to say that, college students are broke. I was broke when I was in college. I worked 2 jobs and I was broke. And I saw the things that happened I went to a D3 school, so there technically weren't sports scholarships, but they still recruited players. They would get them stipends, they would get them grants, they would get them scholarships for other things. And I saw how hard they worked. Those guys, they had to, when the season started, they were in practice before class,
right.
After class. You have to work out, you have to lift weights, you have to get treatment, and you still have to be a student.
Right.
You can't work a job like that. So if your family doesn't have the means to support you, what are you supposed to do?
Being a college athlete is not just going to the gym at 7 o'clock for an 8 o'clock game,
Oh, no.
playing for that 2 hours, and then going home.
Right.
There's a lot more involved in it. Off-season workouts, AM workouts, night workouts. You have to travel and do marketing.
Right.
And we saw there was a lawsuit from Ed O'Bannon from UCLA some years ago about video games. Well, it wasn't just about video games, but there were video games with the players' likenesses, with the players' numbers, and they weren't making any money off of this, again, billion-dollar industry. Now, since the O'Bannon case, we've really seen the college sports games largely go away.
Yeah.
I think there may be a few around, but they did that differently. Mm-hmm. But we're talking about just cold, hard cash.
Yeah.
A lot of players are getting paid under the table. There's a movement to bring that above board just so they can get paid legitimately. How do you feel that works?
Well, you mentioned cold hard cash. And this is where a lot of my time got eaten up today because I was looking up some things. The school in question with the lawsuit was Louisville, and the head coach was Rick Pitino. Rick Pitino was making $7 million a year coaching.
Right.
And he won 2 championships. He had, I think, 4 finals appearances. But, one of those got taken away, I know,
Right.
because of corruption before.
Yeah.
And then I think they even wiped a couple of his NCAA appearances for the same thing.
And I love the way the NCAA does that, where when they find a student has taken money or had grade issues or whatever, they declare him ineligible. They go back and say, that national championship you won 10 years ago, oh, that doesn't count.
Doesn't count. What is that?
Who cares? Somebody's going to go back 10 years and and erase that from their memory. No,
Right.
they're the national champions. I think the NCAA stripping championships and stripping victories is just stupid. Stop it.
I mean, it's ceremonial. They're trying to, put on a tough front and try to make it so that other schools won't follow in suit. But they're trying to get that money.
Right.
They're trying to get their money. Turner and CBS paid, I think, from 2010 to 2032, they have the rights for March Madness. March Madness. That's a month of games. Guess how much? For 22 years of exclusive coverage.
How much?
$17 billion. With a B.
With a B.
It's a lot of money going around. The same thing. Louisville, their endorsement with Adidas, which is the company they got in trouble with,
Right.
$16 million a year. These kids are walking billboards.
Right. Oh, yeah. And you look at almost every college team, especially D1, and even when you go down, you talk about D3 earlier. D3 teams have sponsorships with Nike, with Under Armour, with Adidas, with whatever. So
Yeah,
all
Front
these
Bomb was
schools,
with Nike.
yeah, they're buying the option to have their logo plastered on the players.
Right.
Yet, if a player decides, you know what, I got these free shoes from the school, I don't really need these, I'm a little hungry, I'm going to sell these shoes, that kid gets suspended,
Yeah.
declared ineligible.
That was North Carolina. And they were wearing $500 shoes.
Right.
And couldn't afford the things they
Jordan
needed.
brand, right.
So they got suspended for selling those things. That's
Right.
crazy.
I feel like there's strength in numbers, and I think the only way you're going to bring this wall down of the NCAA just trying to fight so vociferously to keep amateurism so they can keep the money.
Right.
So I think all the players who have gotten paid, and we know a lot of them are out there in public eye already.
Oh, yeah.
All the players who've gotten money in the past in the NCAA need to come forward and say, I took money. Because a lot of these people now are in the pros, they're out of college. So if you have 5,000 athletes coming out and saying, I took money, you have to address it.
That's true. That's true. And I think this stance that the NBA is doing with their G League is going to help it a little bit too.
Yeah.
They're giving the kids another option where they can go semi-pro, still get training, still get basketball education, because that's what they want to do.
Right.
And make some money doing it.
Right.
And I think the median salary is going to be, or the salary is going to be like $125,000 a year.
Yeah, that's like the top salary for the elite players.
Yeah, and that's that to skip that 18-year-old rule where
Right.
you have to be either, 2 years removed from high school?
1 year.
1 year removed from high school. So, yeah.
Yeah. Or I'm trying to give me one of those $1 million internships at
Oh,
New Balance.
yeah. that was impressive. That was impressive.
So let us know what you think. Do you believe players should get paid? How do you think players should get paid? Do you want to get paid? If so, subscribe, comment below, and let us know how you feel.